Is your microphone working?
It's working.
Yes, working, yes.
Hi.
So, Matteo, you're part of a company called Oyster.
I am.
And Oyster is not, it has an origin close to Telecom. Tell us more.
Yeah, I'm kind of a spy here, I feel like. In the sense that I don't work in telecom at all. But actually, the founder of the company that I work for, Tony Jamus, he was working at Nexmo. He actually founded Nexmo, got acquired by Vonage. So that's where the connection is. And even more importantly than that is that we are sharing. I work in the software industry. So we share some big challenge when it comes to talent. And it was the same challenge that Tony, our founders, has been experiencing during his time at Nexmo. So basically, his fundamental challenge is that he couldn't find enough talent to fuel the business growth. Okay, the company was growing very, very fast, could not find the right talent and enough talent to expand internationally. And this is why when he made such a successful exit, that he decided to create a company to solve that specific business. This is what we do at Oyster. So basically, we have an HR tech solution that we sell to our customers, enabling them to hire talent, manage talent everywhere in the world, regardless of whether you have entities there, regardless of the type of the different employments. This is what we do. And what's interesting for me, and this is something that I'd like to return, it's very connected to what was discussed before, is that apart from the commercial success of the company, so we've been growing a lot, raising 200 million, etc., we are a B Corp. We really believe that there is a fundamental mission we're trying to achieve, which is distributing wealth across the world, bring that diversity in talent in every possible company out there, enabling anyone to hire anywhere, which really is part of the DNA of the company. And I do think that this is the answer to the talent challenge that we are all facing.
Okay. So, I mean, the world has changed a lot since the pandemic, during the pandemic and after, yes, with remote work, and it's part of what you work in. What are the key trends do you see? How is it evolving? And mostly around talent and the rise of remote working.
So I think that the first challenge that everyone has been facing, that it's a talent shortage. So I think that the last number that have been shared, it was like by the next 5 years, 80 millions of difference in terms of head count about highly skilled workers. So 80 million is like what, Germany. So it's an entire big European country. And I don't see how, with the current way of attracting talent and managing talent and accessing talent, we're going to solve that problem. The second one is the rise of remote work. So this is particularly important for the newer generation, and we'll discuss about that later probably. People expect this kind of hybrid situation, this kind of sometimes fully remote work, and it has a lot of challenges for managers like I am, for businesses in order to organize and self-organize with a very distributed workforce. And the third one is the digital divide, actually the age divide or the generation divide with the newer generation. I was born in '82, so I'm probably as old as a millennial can get. And I've been experiencing the world of business before, the world of business as it is now. And it's been an interesting evolution there. And I do think that today there is a big, big divide between part of the business world, part of the business organization and hierarchy, and what people are expecting, what talent is expecting these days. Okay.
And people in the audience, why should they look at hiring remote people? Why? Yeah. It's a trend that people are working from home, okay, but there's further than that. They're working from a different country, a different continent. Why is that maybe a benefit to actually go out of your way to encourage that?
Yeah. So this is very connected to the diversity and inclusion that we were discussing before. So today I manage a team of 50-ish people around 9 different time zones. And the geographical diversity is a good proxy for cultural diversity. And when you bring that level of cultural diversity, different universities, different schools that you're coming from, different life background that you're coming from, different life experience that you're coming from, you bring that diversity into the business world. And as a consequence of that, you create a much more resilient organization. So whenever you have a need to scale up your talent in some specific locations because you need specific skills or specific footprint in a country, you are baking in that kind of resiliency, that kind of agility in your business, which I do think it's really fundamental for being able to grow.
It's a way to fast track your diversity and inclusion, one way anyway.
It is one way, and again, this is why I'm talking about proxy. Of course, diversity is not just about geographical diversity. You might have people that are very, very similar in very different geographical locations, but it's a good proxy. At least it has been, for me, very surprising when I started hiring remotely, everywhere, and again, 9 time zones, the richness of the talent, the richness of the life experience you get from your team, that's pretty outstanding. And it has a big, big impact on your business in the end. And it goes back to the conversation before, diversity brings business to the table.
But I would think with that comes a lot of challenges. Having people all over the world and different people, different cultures. How do you, how do you deal with that?
There are challenges that are related, first of all, in the way of working. Something that is super important. We were talking about what the skills of a manager before. It's about intentionality of communication. There is no coffee machine anymore. So every communication needs to be very, very intentional. For someone like I am, I'm Italian. So for people from South Europe, that tends to have a very way of communicating that is very non-verbal. That becomes very, very complicated to put everything in a written form and share that. So this is something that people need to learn, needs to get used to, needs to change the way they work in the day-to-day. So there is that aspect. There is an aspect of tooling. Of course, I mean, I'm not here to sell Notion or Slack or whatever, but there is a fundamental way of using digital media in a way to crystallize the decisions, crystallize the processes, and enable basically everyone also to feel heard. It's adopting those tools, adopting these methodologies. It brings to the diversity because it enables everyone to have a voice at the table if you are specifically working in a completely remote environment. And the last part is, again, as a manager, it's sometimes very, very difficult to be close from a human perspective to people, in the sense that, okay, this person are living, 6 hours from me. They have a completely different life experience, completely different day-to-day life. How can I be, as a manager, create and show that level of empathy that can help create that relationship that can actually unlock the talent, unlock their full potential? And this is really a big challenge for managers. I think this is not something that you learn at school, not something that you learn in university. And that's complicated sometimes.
What about the audience? I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience that have remote workforces, and how do they deal with that? Is a question or a comment up there?
Thank you. How do you ensure the group when you have 50 people in 9 time zones? And do you organize yearly physical meetings?
Yeah. So I can start with the last part of the question. So we have done some in-person meetings. Now it depends. Sometimes it's easier to organize regional meetings. We have done ideally, we would like to do one per quarter, one at least every 6 months. It has more an emotional aspect rather than a true work, if you want, aspect. About the initial part of the question is about being very, very methodical, about how you communicate with the team, and how you transmit transparency in the decision making and in the communication. You want to give clear directions. You want to give clear processes, and you want to give clear rules to ask for protection from your team, and clarifying all of these things very, very upfront, and reaching out with every team member on a constant basis to check that's very important. Concretely speaking, skip levels, office hours that are set in my calendar, weekly Looms to the whole team every Friday.
Any other questions?
Oh, Looms is a video, is a recording. Apologies. Yeah.
Anyone else wants to comment or share their experience? No? Yes, in the front, yes.
Hi.
A comment and a question, I suppose. One of the challenges I've personally found most with managing remote teams, really on a global basis, is not so much cultural aspects, or anything. It's sheer time zone that you have people finishing their day before someone starts their day. And so I do think the physical meetups are very important, but one of the things I also found was actually your organizational structure, putting specific functions in regions and giving them autonomy so they're not waiting for anyone to come online. So interested in your experience or thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I will not picture a situation that is more rosy than what it is really. It's difficult. And it's, I would say, not intelligent to try to disperse at any cost your team across the world. I mean, it's a pointless exercise to do. On the other side, you need to be methodological in the way you do handovers. And people need to learn how they can have multiple work streams at the same time, park a work stream because they are pending feedback from someone else on a document, on a Slack message, whatever, and move to the other one. So it's interesting because the company that I work for, we have, it's very cross-functional. So we have a very, very significant amount of the people that are working with us, with product in particular, that are not technical in nature. So they are from legal team, from a financial team, etc. And they are not used to that kind of sometimes way of working. Or say, okay, I'm going to park this work till today, till tomorrow. I'm going to work on this. And that's part of the company culture. We do have internally people that are dedicated to helping us building the right mindset for this. The advantage that you get from that is that you become much more efficient on the road. You become much more flexible, much more nimble, much more agile. And whenever there are opportunities that you can grab, it's much easier to accelerate on one specific area when you build this into the backbone of your company culture.
Good. Okay. So I guess it brings us to our one-word challenge. Are you up for it?
Give it a try.
Okay. So you know the drill. I'm asking you questions. You answer with one word.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the next big talent requirement?
I'd say these days resiliency.
You're doing good. One word. What is the next big talent innovation?
Global employment.
What is the next big talent challenge?
I think it's maybe in German there's a single word for that, but I think the baking your mission into your top line to attract talent.
Okay.
I got no idea how to say that in a single maybe
Alberto,
in German.
What's the German word? And what is the next big talent opportunity?
I think from the talent opportunity, I do think that single word, right?
Yes. It's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm gonna say AI.
Okay.
That's an easy one.
Okay. And to close us off, what is the last message that you want people to remember when they leave this room?
At the end of the day, today I work basically in HR tech. So, okay, a SaaS software company, SaaS company doing HR, doing something that is not that sexy. It's basically payroll and administration. Okay, it's not sexy at all. But how can we get, how we can access talent? First of all, we are very, very upfront with the company mission. That resonates a lot with the younger generation. We are a big corp, invested a lot on our branding, invested a lot on our mission. And it's amazing to see when talent comes to me and they ask me, how your mission materializes into your hiring policy, how your mission materializes into HR and talent management policy, and I can bring numbers on that. I can say, okay, these are where my talent are coming from, this is how I promoted them, and I do have those numbers. So I think this is an important point. The second point is today, even when you are working in an unsexy industry, at least in my case, payroll, you have a great opportunity with the technology that is available today to everyone to give freedom and freedom of creativity to your team. People tend to surprise you when you give them freedom for solution design. I come from product, so solution design is my stuff. But giving that level of freedom and communicating that level of freedom when it comes to hiring talent, managing talent, that's really, really important and really, really a way to attract the talent.
Thank you so much, Matteo.
You're welcome.
Thank you for closing the morning on a high.
Thank you.